Hey guys, welcome to Bookish Islander. My name is Juan, and today I'm going to be reviewing The Heart's Invisible Furies by Irish author John Boyne. The Heart's Invisible Furies seems to be one of those novels that a lot of people really like. The first time I heard about it was through BookTube. There are a few BookTubes there, and I can't really remember who. But I know that more than one of them either recommended this novel on their channels or personally told me about it and recommended I read it. So I did. I'm still fairly new to BookTube, so I'm trying to fit in, I guess. So I do have a list of novels that I want to review, and I have a very particular taste, but I'm also always looking to widen my horizons and read new things. So in the spirit of all those things, I tackled this popular book. When I started reading The Heart's Invisible Furies, I thought it would be a coming-of-age story. But then when I finished, I realized, or more than halfway through actually, I realized that it wasn't going to be that. And when I finished, I noticed that what it was, it's one of those cradle to grave story. So the story begins with someone's birth and ends, not necessarily in this case with their death, but advanced old age. So you get a whole outlook, you get an outlook on the character's whole life. So the character here is Cyril Avery, who is born in Dublin, but actually comes from a family from the south of the island, from somewhere around the town of, or the city of Cork. But anyway, so he's adopted, and by kind of like a very eccentric couple, where the his adopted father is a lawyer, is someone who gets into a lot of trouble with the law. He's not a lawyer, but he gets into trouble with the law. And his mom is a very reluctant writer that then becomes one of Ireland's most celebrated and studied writers, but someone that Cyril is not actually keen on reading. And don't you just love books which are about writers? I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I think that, you know, writers should come out of their comfort zones or whatever, or their immediate world, and write about something else. I think it's disproportionate, I guess, the amount of books, the amount of novels where the main characters or some of the characters are writers. Anyway, leaving that aside, so yeah, so you get his whole life, and that's all fine. I mean, he's a gay man growing in Dublin, and you know, well, first he's a kid, so we get to see the obligatory scene where he discovered that other boys had penises, and he realized that he liked that, and then how he came to terms with his sexuality, you know, all of that, all the suffering, all his pining for his best friend who he'd actually been in love all his life. You know, the book just... The story is very familiar, not because it is that necessarily true to my life or to anybody's life, but because it's something that's been told a lot, I think. So one of my problems with this book, and I have many, is that it didn't tell me anything new. It didn't surprise me at all, is what I mean. It was... everything happened as I expected it would happen, and the novel is just plot. There's nothing but plot. It's just a story. This happens and that happened, and then because this happened and that happened, and because that happened and this other thing happened, and so on. That's fine. That's just a very conventional way of plotting a book. But then there's nothing special about the writing. It's all very matter of fact. I found the book to be very ineffective in that, because even though ostensibly this character has a lot of elements that would make someone like me not just empathize, but also sympathize with him, that just didn't happen. Just because there was nothing in the writing to make this character seem that special, or someone that that I would, you know, empathize with. Just, you know, it's all there in the plot, but I'm not that kind of reader, so the book didn't work for me on that level. There's another issue, which I think is actually worse, and that's the issue that when you tell someone's life over decades and decades, well, a lot of things happen in parallel to that life. So you have in the micro level, you have this character. And then on a macro level, you have politics, and you have the church in Ireland, and you have Reagan and the AIDS crisis, and the Pope, and Margaret Thatcher in Britain, and I don't know how many other things. And everything has to feature in this story. And that seems so forced, you know, like it's been all shoehorned in. Which wouldn't be that bad if this character kind of casually came across those events or those people in global politics, but he always seemed to be in the middle of them, which was so far-fetched and unnecessary, and again took me out of the story. So it was like a barrier between me and the character, me the reader and the character that is telling me his story. So would I recommend this book? If you read for plot, if you want a story, a sympathetic portrayal of the life of a gay man in the 20th century, then yes, it's a fine book. It's entertaining enough. It's a very long book, which is another one of its problems. It's too long for what it is. It's unnecessarily long, but the story's well told, and there's nothing in the writing that I don't think anyone would find off-putting. But there also isn't anything in the writing that I find particularly appealing or exciting. So yeah, but if you read for plot, if you want a sympathetic portrayal of a gay man in the 20th century, then go read it. If you are mildly interested in Ireland and the church and how much Ireland has changed, you know, from the time where the book starts, when the protagonist's mother gets effectively kicked out of her hometown for getting pregnant out of wedlock, to the point where same-sex marriage was legalized in the Republic of Ireland. If you want to get get that outlook, that perspective, then sure, the book might be a bit interesting. But to my mind, all the references to the IRA and Reagan and Margaret Thatcher and the church seem to be far-fetched. I mean, I get it. You have to talk about the Church of Ireland, of the Catholic Church in Ireland, if you're talking about a character, a gay man born there and raised there and so on. But I think there would be better ways of doing that. And I wish I knew a book that I could recommend to you if you're interested in all of that, but want to read something that is more, I don't want to say better written, but something that is more exciting or more fresher, more engaging at the level of, you know, narrative and writing and not just plot. I wish I knew that book. There must be something there, probably something written by Colin Toybin or someone else like that. If you know of such a book, please let me know in the comments, because I'd love to read a book that tells a similar story, but it's better written, if you see what I mean. But yeah, so that's my review of this book, The Heart's Invisible Furies by Irish author John Boyne. I hope you like the review. And if you like the book, please let me know what you liked about it, because I know a lot of people love this book. If you had trouble with it and didn't like it and perhaps agree with what I'm saying, please elaborate in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you have any more recommendations of books, Irish or otherwise, for me that you'd like me to review or just simply talk about, just let me know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye-bye.